Okay, hi. For most of you probably do not know me, I'm Cyndi Andrade. I'm the chair of Community Preservation Committee and have been for a while. My background, I've lived in this town for close to 40 years, and believe it or not, I've been on various boards for 35. I figured out conservation for 13, cultural council for 6, and CPC a very long time, like 20 years, I think, is my recollection. Community Preservation Committee. So the Community Preservation Act was signed into law in 2000 by the state of Massachusetts. This town was an early adopter. They voted to accept it in 2001. I was not on the board at that time. So our committee members, by our local statute, 4 Norfolk representatives representing at least 3 of the 4 precincts, names are there, and then 5 town board representatives, planning, historic, conservation, recreation, and housing. We have an administrative assistant, contact, phone number, etc. The Community Preservation Act, yeah, I can't follow my own pages. I'll do it from here. It was a tool that allowed communities to create a special fund to support open space protection, historic preservation, affordable housing, and outdoor recreation. Our main function is to receive project recommendations from other boards, town members, sometimes from ones that we come up with ourselves, and make recommendations to the town on whether or not they fit our 3 priorities, which is the affordable housing, recreation, historic. We do meet monthly. We evaluate the project allowability, and I will note here that we are not allowed to approve projects that are maintenance. So that's kind of a key thing, so we can do new things. If, for instance, a lake has been very degraded, we can do weed control until it's in a really good shape, but once it is, we can't keep doing it year after year after year. It's not allowed by the law. So we do make the recommendations to the community, and they go through town meetings. So it's nothing, we're never approving anything directly ourselves. They always have to go through town meeting. People always wonder, where do we get our money? So there's a property tax surcharge. You'll see it on your property tax bill. There's a little line that says CPA. And it does not raise your tax rate. It's actually a surcharge on your tax rate. And the monies that have been raised allow us to fund the town really, to fund projects that otherwise would not be funded in the operating or the capital budgets. People ask how much, does the average person spend or average household pay? So I got this from the Board of Assessors. The average Norfolk assessed home value is $788. And the fiscal year tax rate for 2026 is 14.87. The first 100,000 is exempt. So when you're calculating the surcharge, it is calculated on the 688. So you can see just over $100 annually, not quarterly. We receive state matching funds. That's been key to building up the reserves. And that is based on the real estate transactions at the Registry of Deeds. In some years, the state legislature will also allocate money from their state surplus to augment the CPA, the giant CPA fund. And so then it is also dependent, what we receive as a town is also dependent on that, plus the number of communities that have adopted the Community Preservation Act. Through 2008, we received a 100% match from the state. That is because we were what they call a 3% community. Our surcharge was 3%. In 2012, town meeting voted to reduce it to 1. And what happened at that point is a 3% community, the way the state funds it, you go through round 1 of funding if you're a 3% community, then round 2, and then round 3 as they allocate what's left in the budget, and I don't know what that formula is. But when you're only a 1% community, you're only allowed to get a surcharge from the first round. So our receipts from the state went down dramatically. And as you can see, prior to the surcharge, we were getting a 74%, and since then, it's only been 22%. And obviously, some of this, because it is the registry of deeds, what we are receiving also depends on real estate. So in years like 2008, 2009, when real estate sales were really poor, receipts, even at the state level, were way down. Since adoption, our local surcharge has raised $8 million. Our state match was 4.4 for a total of 12.6. Right now, we have an unencumbered balance, which means funds that have not already been allocated to projects of just, it's under 4 million. It's like 3.8, 3.9. So you can see that we have, been able to augment projects for the town, $8 million over the course of all this time. So that's a lot that did not come out of our budget. We have to allocate funds also according to state law. 10% of our receipts, and for anyone who goes to Springtown meetings sees this every year, go to historic, 10% to open space, 10% to recreation, 10% to affordable housing. The remainder goes into an undesignated account. But that account still must be used for those 4 uses. It cannot be used for anything else. Our administrative costs are limited to 5% of annual receipts. So also at town meeting, you'll see where there's always a line item that said, generally we put 10, 15,000 in our administrative budget. But because we don't know what the receipts are going to be for that year, but when they know, then we adjust it down. We cannot exceed that amount. Our administrative costs are our administrator, office, advertising, supplies. It's very low, actually. In any event, any projects, and our administrative budget, at the end of the year, our administrative budget that is not spent rolls right back into the undesignated fund. We cannot carry, we cannot build. And the same, once a project is done, or if a project isn't done, any monies that were allocated and not spent roll back into the accounts that they came from. So there's no building, there's no holding over. Excuse me. For affordable housing, Todd Lidmark calculated this for me. We have allocated more than $2 million to the Municipal Housing Trust that they have put toward the creation of affordable housing in Norfolk. It's been various things that they've done. I know Sue Jacobson presented at an earlier presentation, so she told you about that. And we also funded the development of the housing production plan, which is that plan that allowed us to go into, Safe Harbor. And we've done an update on, we've allocated money to do an update of that one as well. For historic preservation, this is the hardest category to spend money on in this town. Primarily because we don't really have a lot of public historic buildings. And most towns, that's what they spend a lot of their money on. So we have done the Tramp House restoration a couple of times. And it would be not just paint, but the architecture of it. You can read the rest of it. Within this building, the old schoolhouse. The foundation was restored, the interior was restored, and that was actually a couple of different projects because once they got in to do the interior, they discovered that the foundation needed restoring. The Grange, for the town clerk, historical records, cemeteries, they've done surveys, ground penetrating radar to discover lost graves, and we've done restoration on tombstones in there as well. Misty Meadow Farm mural. if anyone has ever seen that in this library also. It's in the periodical room, and Sarah will take you through there at some point, I believe. And there's a load of historic plaques that have been put up around town. Recreation and open space, that's our biggest receipt of monies. The very first project that CPA ever paid for in this town was the shade structure at Pond Street. Number of acquisitions of land, the weed control and water quality programs. Undergoing right now, Town Hill, there's a project underway to analyze how to restore the gazebo, how to best make use of Town Hill. Infrastructure on Town Hill, which it is not always functioning as it should. Also ongoing right now, Campbelltown Forest on, this is not Rockwood Road, North Street. They're doing an assessment for trail and parking improvements, because if anyone has ever hiked there or gone in there and tried to park, if you get more than a few cars in there, it's really challenging to park. So that's underway under the direction of the Conservation Commission. Ongoing, things that are still ongoing, and Ann might speak to this later. Acquisition of 43 acres of DOC land adjacent to Pond Street. This has been ongoing for a bit.
So can I interject here?
You may interject.
It was a wonderful Christmas present. I got a call from DCAM on December 24th at 4 p.m. that they just are going to be doing the survey and the deed will be complete.
It's a big yay, yeah.
It was a wonderful
It's a big
Christmas
day.
call.
Rest of CPC doesn't even know that yet. The infamous pickleball courts at Pond Street, which are ongoing. Resurfacing at Freeman Kennedy. HOD was done. Freeman Kennedy is still in the works. Also, relatively new projects approved at the last town meeting, the ADA access improvements, excuse me. Mirror Lake funding for potential sediment removal. And the Metacomet Greenway, which I think Rich might have mentioned, Rich McCarthy, when he did his. That's been a long process. It's got grants, but some of the engineering work and the other things had to be funded by the town. Misty Meadow Mural and Schoolhouse will be later. And basically, I just wanted to say that, how can you get involved? Anyone who has an idea for a project that falls under those parameters is welcome to come to a meeting, to send us an email and suggest it, because, especially people who might live with open space in their backyard or something, not backyard, but, in their development, visit the lakes here. If they have ideas of improvements that could be funded through CPA, we'd love to hear them. We have a webpage, obviously, on the site. And I think, the most critical thing is that I want everyone to realize is that the Community Preservation Committee does not make the final judgment on what projects are going to be funded. We assess whether they're viable, whether they're a benefit to the town, whether they're allowable, and then we vote to put it forward to town meeting. We go to the advisory board, the selectmen reviews them, and then finally it's a town meeting vote. Everyone does not always agree with the monies that are spent through CPA, but you have to know that it's gone through a town meeting vote. And so it's the will of the majority, hopefully, of the town at town meeting. So that's my quick presentation on what we do, because I promised not to take too long, because I was an add-on here.
You have a question?
Yes.
What's being done with the 29-acre parcel adjacent to Jane Falls Farm?
That is at this point, that has just been a local walking paths off of Churchill and an open space preservation. So there is no plan for any, type of development on there.
Are there walking, did you say there's walking?
There are off of Churchill.
What was that?
Off of Churchill Road or Avenue, whatever it is. Yeah, off there, you can park, there's a cul-de-sac there and you can walk in.
All right. And then after the restoration, what was the old schoolhouse? Where's the old schoolhouse?
In this
the
building.
library?
Yeah, it's right
Yeah.
in the front of the building that fronts Main Street.
Yeah.
And I do believe Sarah will guide you through there later. So it's pretty cool. I think it had been, besides a schoolhouse, it served multiple purposes over the years. So, and unfortunately, I will have to say also, there's been a number of historic homes, private homes, that CPA looked at trying to fund to buy or, preserve. And unless we, as a committee, see a good use for it, we're not gonna we can't justify just buying it to let it sit there. There was one in particular that, my gosh, we would have loved to have made it into a museum, but we were not allowed to by town zoning and things because it was a zoned residential and we couldn't put a municipal use in it. So sometimes, those kind of things hamper us as well.
I have a question about the old town hall.
It's never come before us.
The old town hall?
Yeah, no one's ever brought it forward as an idea. I mean, I know it's gone to town meeting to sell it, and it was voted down, but no town officials ever brought it to us as an idea.
Somebody wanted to keep it because it's historic, that's why it's still standing.
They can find a use for it and promote a use for it, then we could certainly do it.
Do they pay real estate taxes in town, paid for that?
No,
I'm
we're
gonna
not-
pass that down.
Yes, I can answer a little bit. We have talked several times about demolishing. It's not a safe structure, so the structure is completely unsafe. It costs money to take it down, and then the question is, what are we going to do with that? And so that conversation has come up, and every year it's like, well, we really can't afford to deal with this right now, and so the can has been kicked a little bit from year to year. And every year we think, this is the year we're gonna, what are we gonna do with that land? There's also a possibility, I might be overstepping my knowledge base here, but we're looking to do some partnering with the Department of Corrections in terms of adding sewer to the center of town. And we might be able to use that space in that project if that comes to fruition. So we're kind of sitting on that right now until we have some more information. And also there's just an expense that it's difficult to justify that expense when other things.
Wait, but you guys are the real estate, isn't it?
It's because it's owned by the town. It's the
All
town.
town property.
The library doesn't
real
pay.
estate.
No.
And even, to that point also, there's been other historic structures in town that we've looked at and said, oh, we could do this with it, but between the demolition costs or the rehabilitation costs, asbestos, all those things that come with really old buildings, it's not economically viable even using this type of money, because this is still taxpayer money. So we still have to be fiscally responsible with it as far as what recommendations we
Did
make.
you previously consider it for some things like doing early childhood there, or doing, but the building is not, we've had it evaluated, it's not safe.
And you take care of trail improvements, so like King Philip, the open space up there, can you guys do walking trails? Do we
Yes.
have to propose for you to do it?
Yes. Yeah, there has to be at least an initial proposal, and for us to consider a project, I mean, we always would work with you, but if you say, I want to do improved walking trails or expanded walking trails up here, we'd say, great, do you have someone that you can get estimates from, or we can get someone to help you get estimates for, doing these projects, because we can't just approve something blanket. We really have to have a number associated with
You
it.
just feel like we have a lot of open space in town, but no one has a way to walk to these different places if there's no trails. So it's great that you're trying to keep the land open, but if we can't walk the trails.
That's probably a conservation question, because most of the open space in town is owned by the Conservation Commission. So if you had actually what I would suggest is if you had an idea to improve or expand or put in walking trails, the first step would be to go to Conservation Commission.
Okay.
Because if it's, like I said, it's mostly owned under them or under the Board of Selectmen, and so they would be the ones to kind of spearhead that.
Just to interject, actually, we're just starting the open space and recreation plan, so it is the perfect time to voice your opinion.
So we're just getting that going, and it's that what you're bringing up is exactly what the open space and recreation plan is for.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and the open space and recreation plan was also funded with CPA
Right.
money. So yeah, I would say first step would be Conservation Commission. Donna?
Could you cover what, in general, what 61A is, how, if, and what the town option is?
Sure.
Possibly acquire that.
So 61A or 61B properties, they're properties that are, 61A is an agricultural use, i.e. a farm. 61B is something that the owners have put in for recreational use. And there was a property on Seekonk Street that was put into 61B. It was Ken Wood's old property. And when those properties are sold, the town has the right of first refusal. And then it's, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember how many months we have to respond to the offer. You have to meet it in order to buy it. And what CPA limits us is that if we wanted to buy parcel A, which was under 61A, and the owner was selling it to a developer, say, we have to get an appraisal for it, for highest and best use. And then we, meaning, I'm saying the we is loose, that CPA money cannot spend more than the appraised value. So if parcel A, the developer's gonna buy it for $500,000, but a real estate appraisal only comes, for highest and best use, only comes through at $350,000, we can only pay $350,000. We can't kick in any extra money. It's state law. So a lot of times we have had that happen where developers have come in, they're willing to pay more because they're gonna maximize their profits in their own way. But when you do a formal appraisal, it's not coming out to what is offered, and so CPA monies cannot be used to match that price. And so that's another thing that, for better or for worse, kind of hampers the acquisition of lands sometimes, because, and a lot of times people think their land is worth more than it is as well. Is that enough? Do you want me to add something?
Well, what happened at the Franklin end of Main Street, the Vasilla property? If anybody, you're going towards Franklin and
On the left,
on the left,
behind
The house?
behind the pond.
Yeah.
But my point was that those people really wanted it to be conservation, and they took a lower amount of money from the town.
Oh, yes,
than
they
the
did.
developer.
Okay, yes, 387 Main. It's around Comey's Pond, and they did. They wanted to stay as conservation land, and they accepted a lesser amount of money than they thought they could sell it for because it was very special to them and their family, and their family had been there for years. So that does happen as well. And also with 61A, not only can CPA monies not be used for something that is being sold for more than the appraised value, but then it also has to go to a town meeting vote. So if we were to meet the price that was being asked, we would have to call often a special town meeting to have the town approve the purchase. And a lot of time, property owners are not willing to wait through that process. Because, instead of closing in a couple of months, it could be 6 months. So that's another limitation. Anything else? Well, if not, anything that comes up in the future, you can send an email to our board and one of us will get back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ann Proto. I'm the Recreation Director for a very short amount of time remaining. This is Josh Walther. He has been with the Recreation Department since COVID. He started out as the director of the enrichment program that we ran with schools, using this room, the Grange, the multi-purpose room. We had up to 100 kids a day during COVID, so they could do their schoolwork and their parents could work in somewhat peace. So he's been here with us that long, but he's been in nonprofit for 20 plus years. And he has his master's in public administration. So he's all set to take over when I leave in a month. I brought some brochures. We do mail a brochure to everyone in town. I hope you have it, or at least look at it before you, I don't want to say throw it away, but use it for something else. We offer programs year-round through the Recreation Department. The department reports to the Recreation Commission, which is 5 people. There are 5 elected people. We have 2 openings, 2 positions up for election this year. One is probably going to look to be elected again. I don't know how to say that all of a sudden. And then one person is probably not going to, so we're always looking for someone. We have several instructors, several coaches. We have seasonal employees. We offer programs all year round. The only time that we take a few days off is really around Christmas time and New Year's. And
maybe the end of the summer for a week.
Right, when everyone's exhausted. So our office is located in the ground floor of the town hall. We use the multi-purpose room there. We have a back room as well. It was actually, I don't know if people remember this, but that area was actually built as the senior center when the town hall was first built. So when the senior center became a building, we were very fortunate and moved over there. We were also at the time, we were in the old town hall. Before that, when I first started, we were in the basement of Southwood. So we've come a long way. We are very appreciative. We work with all the schools for programming and such, but we work with the Norfolk elementary schools, and we also work with the middle school and the high school. And it's mutual. The high school actually uses our fields for some of their teams, and we use their gyms, and we don't charge each other. So we try to help each other out as much as we can. And I have to say, we go to many recreation meetings, and a lot of people talk about controversy and sort of push and pull with the schools and things, and we have a wonderful relationship. We are just very thankful across everyone. With the senior center, with the library, it works. So I'm very thankful for that. So our commissioners, Rob Taglianti is the chair right now. Kim Meehan is up for re-election. Jill Hindley Lawrence she just ran. Alex Perry is up for re-election, and Chris Toman is got another year. So it's staggered, just like the select board, like probably all the boards. I've been here almost 27 years, not quite, but almost 27 years. Josh, 5 years. Ashley has been here about 2.5 years now. It's half-time person in the office. We have 80 program instructors, teachers, seasonal staff. We have volunteers. We run field hockey. We run a wonderful Liberty flag football. Have lots of elementary school kids. We are a busy department, like many departments. I was going to say.
So we wanted to put down some of the things that we know we're good at, and we're not egomaniacs, but we are recreation in town, and we do, as Ann mentioned, interact with a lot of different departments, different organizations in town, including in the KP community. So, and coming from nonprofit, one of the things that I've always been impressed working with, we do have very dedicated commissioners and staff. So even though we're a small department, 2.5 employees normally year round, with 5 elected commissioners, everybody's very invested in what we offer for residents. So we do offer programs for all ages. You might look at our brochure and think it's very child heavy, and it is, but part of what I've also tried to do since I've been here, coming from the organizations I worked for before, is trying to always offer more for adults, for families, couples, things like that. Working within the facilities and the time frames that we have. So we're always trying to add more things for all ages, but especially for adults, because that's where the lower percentage of our programs last. We like to pride ourselves in the community engagement that we do. I joke around all the time when I say sometimes recreation can be seen as the face of part of the face of a town, because we're always out there. It's very not that often that Ann and I are actually in the office together at the same time. Someone's always out at a field, someone's always out at a school, someone's always at a meeting. We do run a variety of programs in town hall, but most of what we do is outside of the building. So we try to put together and participate in as many events that we can offer free to the community. We have a slide later that talks more about those things that we do. Our main goal is to make sure that not only we have a wide variety of programs, but that they are affordable. So to give you an idea how we price a program, we work with the instructors of our programs to figure out pay and supplies and things like that. And then really, between the two of us, we figure out a way to make that program affordable. What I can say is that since we came out of COVID, having started here during COVID with no programs anywhere for any rec department in any town, we kind of came out swinging. We had a very big brochure compared to other towns and people that we work with. So, and people have registered since then. And I think it's part of it because we try to pride ourselves on proving that we do things safely, but at the same time, we are affordable. We want people to take our programs, enjoy them. We like having the numbers. I like going to a summer program and seeing 100+ kids at a program having fun, as opposed to just 10 jumping around on a playground. We are very committed to supporting families. It's a very internal process when people contact us about financial aid and things like that. But we do everything we can to help anybody participate in any program.
I'm going to just interject here. We have never turned down a scholarship in 27 years. We found money.
Again, going back, we're not egomaniacs, but when it comes to things like playground safety, fields, facilities, we are the experts. And I don't mean to say that in a way that I want people to be like, oh, they think they know everything. But we...
Fields, we work very closely with DPW. I work very closely with DPW.
And it's important to us for those fields to always look nice. It's important to us for our facilities, our playgrounds to always be safe and not look like they're rusty and falling apart. That we always have what we need to run our programs and that instructors are prepared. Professional, it all comes down to being professional and doing what's best for the residents. We build strong partnerships, as Ann mentioned earlier. We have one of the best relationships I've ever seen with a school department in terms of them allowing us to use spaces to run our programs. On any given day, we have 7 or 8 programs going on in between the 2 schools in town. And that's in classrooms, in the gyms, because we don't have a lot of space here. And, we're not asking to build a building or anything like that. We're using what we have at Town Hall, maximizing that and with the relationship with the schools. But again, sorry, go ahead.
I just want to also say there's the other side of this as well. They have an after-school program, but they don't have the ability to serve everyone that needs after-school care. So we work with SAC with their schedule and fit our classes in so we can offer classes when they have their highest requests for numbers and they can't meet the needs for all of them. So we've also worked with offering programs. I'm very happy to say, so I'm a huge foreign language advocate. 25 years ago, I was on the foreign language committee. We got Spanish in the schools for a month and a half. Not too long, but we're back. We are now have an after-school Spanish program for grades 3 through 6 starting. So I'm thrilled about that. We met with the principal and talked to them about they're working with KP for a homework club, but they talked to us about how once that is established and works for a year, they want to be able to continue it. So they've already spoken to us, and we're going to be working with them to continue that program.
We work with other town departments. We work with the Labyrinth Mutual Program between concerts and travel now. We work with the police department with their Autism 5K, which started last year. They just had their 2nd annual one. Other town departments work well with us, helping us out to, as Ann mentioned, DPW with the fields and facilities with any crazy idea that we come up with. They entertain it and try to help us figure things out in the most affordable way. Beyond that, as a KP community town, we do work with the Rentham and Plainville rec departments. Also, we have a large basketball program which is currently going on Saturdays that we run with both of those departments, covering kids from all 3 towns and some towns outside of that area. But most of the kids are Norfolk, Rentham, Plainville kids. We host in KP Youth Field Hockey, which So Commonwealth Field Hockey League is a large youth field hockey league in the state of Massachusetts, which is gaining national attention right now through USA Field Hockey. We represent KP Youth Field Hockey, so this past season we had 125 girls playing on 6 different teams between 1st grade and 8th grade, and they compete against other local towns, so that's another program that encompasses all 3 towns. We do a lot of work for and with the Lions and other local organizations, the Norfolk Community League. And as I mentioned earlier, we're doing travel with the library now. That's one of the new bigger programs that's coming out. They just took their first trip to Iceland. You said there were 34?
I think there were 34, yep.
34 people went to Iceland.
Sarah just walked out, there were 34, that was great.
And we
January 22nd is the meeting for Portugal, which is going to be taking place in the fall of this year, and the Red Canyons are this spring.
And these are things that we couldn't do without partnering with the travel. We're partnering with the senior center and the library. So those 3 departments working together is now offering an exciting new program that I don't know who nearby has had things like that, but we obviously haven't had that before this past fall.
So I should probably start before some of this you've already seen as far as what we're doing. We manage the care of the fields at both Freeman Kennedy and Pond Street. We work with DPW. DPW has a very limited staff. I'm gonna not that I can brag about them because they do it all on their own. The grounds crew is 3 people. They take care of all the green space in town. Justin Laliberty is the foreman of the grounds crew. He has his degree in athletic fields and grounds. He absolutely knows what he's doing. And so one of the things we also do together that we all love are the Christmas lights. So Recreation provides all the Christmas lights. We raise money to do that. And on that point, all our programming, all our free events, none of it is tax dollars. Even our salaries is the town. We don't even. It's half of what we use for salaries. We don't even get all of our salaries covered. So, but this past holiday season, I don't know if you saw Norfolk in the NOR. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story about that. So I've worked with Justin for a long time, and he said, I have an idea. Do you think you can buy some wood for us? And I said, okay. And he goes, it's a surprise. He's never said that to me. I was like, okay, it's a surprise. And if you knew me, I'm a little bit of a control person, so I had to let go there. But 2 of the guys that work in the grounds crew, I bought the lumber and I bought the lights, and on their own time, they built Norfolk and put it up. It was not town time. They did it as a project on the road. That's what I just was very happy, thrilled about. I thought, how great is that? So other free community events we do. So the Tunes for Tots program, we actually work with the library, and it works out really well. We used to do about 3 concerts, but we figured out we get some sponsorships, and between the library and Recreation, we split some, and then the sponsorships, and they're great sponsorships because children's performers charge $450, $650 for 4five minutes. If you're ever thinking of a second career and you like to sing in front of children, that might be a good path to take. So, but it's expensive. But the way we can offer it, we can offer sponsorships to PTO and things for $200 or $300. They have the opportunity to let people know what they're doing, and we can offer 5 concerts instead of 3 concerts. So it's a great opportunity to provide that. The fireworks have been brought to Norfolk the past 3 years. I will miss doing the fireworks. I love doing the fireworks. So, but all of that money is raised by Recreation. None of it is tax dollars. We even paid for the police and fire details. So you're not paying for them as well. We pay for them.
And they will be continuing even after Aaron retires.
So as far as the grants, and I can talk a little bit about CPC with this. So this, the past year and a half, 2 years, the Massachusetts Office of Disability offers grant opportunities. They offer a planning grant, and then they offer a project grant. So I wrote a planning grant to assess ADA accessibility, which is not in great shape, for both Pond Street and Freeman Kennedy School. That was a $60,000 grant. So part of that is actually going to also contribute to the open space and recreation plan. So we have a full assessment of what we need to do for ADA accessibility. So we got that grant. I then took that grant and I wrote a project grant. I wrote 2 project grants, one for Pond Street, one for Freeman Kennedy School. They were both $100,000 grants. We did receive the Freeman Kennedy improvement. So we will be putting in, finishing the emergency access road, which is in terrible shape, and also adding accessible parking down closer to the fields. So people, I mean, there's no way to get to the fields, and it's very hard to see someone in a wheelchair try. So we're very pleased about that. And we will be doing the same for Pond Street. Hopefully, we'll apply for another grant and get that. But CPC stepped in. Part of the grants, I don't know how this makes sense, but it is part of the grant that they will cover the project, but they won't cover the engineering for the project. The engineering for the project is $30,000. So it's not like it's a drop in the bucket, and you have to have that. You have to have that done to get a permit and go. And we go through the same process as everyone else. We have to meet all the requirements at every board. So CPC was able to fund the engineering for both the Freeman Kennedy School, and when we do the Pond Street project, we'll have that engineering done. And that engineering is this, we actually paid the same amount to incorporate the ADA improvements and pickleball. So that's one of the things that CPC was able to help us with recently, which is great. As far as our office staff, there's 2.5 of us. Our salaries are about $220,000. The town pays $128,000. I'm not going to pretend that I'm happy about that. I do feel that full-time benefited employees should be supported by the town. I do understand we are in tough financial situations. We've always given back. We will always continue to give back. But we also have to raise money to pay ourselves. All our programs are self-funded. We have 2 revolving accounts. One is for programs. So all the money we bring in for programs goes into one account. We pay everything out of that account. We have another revolving account for fields. Field organizations per player pay fees for fields, to use the fields. And we've actually developed a plan over the past 15 years or so to improve our fields, get them to a great shape, and then maintain them. And our fields are in much better shape than they were by far 15 years ago. They're safe, they're playable. There are a couple that still need work, but we were not in a problem situation. I mean, recreation sounds like it's all fun, but there's very much the business side of recreation, and a lot of that is the risk assessment and making sure that things are safe for everyone. As far as what happens with the fields, so I am responsible for contracting with all outside people that do work on the fields. DPW does a great job. They mow, they trim. There's a lot. This is everywhere, not just the athletic fields. This is everywhere. The cemeteries, everywhere. So they don't have the time, and a lot of times they don't have the equipment. It's never been. The town hasn't invested in equipment, but that's okay. We can work that another way, and we do. The town doesn't own an aerator, so we need to hire people to aerate. We hire people to put down, we actually use very few pesticides, but we do fertilize. So, you want to take over?
Some of the recent projects that have happened over the last 2 years. 2 summers ago, we installed a new well and irrigation at the Freeman Kennedy Fields. There was already some existing irrigation on what is we call the old football field, which is right in the middle of the complex. But the surrounding fields around it didn't have anything, so irrigation got put in. Along with, if you are standing in the parking lot of the Freeman Kennedy School with your back to the school and you're looking at the fields, in the center you'll see a big baseball field that's facing you. That was rebuilt 2 summers ago to become what's called a flex field. So
Younger kids can now play on it. It used to be a larger field.
So it used to be dedicated to a specific age group, and now it is, if you ever walk out there, you'll find it strange. You'll see 2 pitcher's mounds, right? You won't necessarily see, but there's 2 places to put bases, so you can expand the size of it so that Little League and Cal Ripken, which is the next age up, can both use that field. The best story I can tell you about that is Ann was away and she asked me to go take some pictures for the presentation to CPC about it. I actually stood in the stretch of grass between the pitcher's mound and home plate and put my phone on the ground, and you couldn't see home plate. That's a lot of the problems we run out, especially at Freeman Kennedy over the years, is the ground sinks a little bit. So, that got rebuilt, as well as irrigation put in on that field. Currently, we have been working since springtime is when we started contacting students from Tri-County High School are building dugouts out there right now.
They started this week.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
So eventually the goal is to have nice dugouts on all of our baseball and softball fields for all the kids.
Safety-wise for sun, but also fly balls.
So hopefully by the time they're finished, before the spring starts, if you go out to Freeman Kennedy, you'll see a new set of dugouts on the softball field, which is closest to the snack shack. So if you're looking at the fields, it's all the way the one on the left. And then eventually that flex field will have some moving forward in the future where hopefully they're going to be on all the other fields in that complex. And then we have 1 field left over at Pond Street that doesn't have dugouts. Again, but we're going to continue to work with Tri-County. This is just another partnership. It's their shop program, their carpentry shop program. So the kids are in shop anyways, and they take on projects, and we're lucky that they chose us to be one of the projects that they're going to help us with as we install these over the years.
So we are working with Norfolk baseball and Norfolk girls softball and recreation. We supply the materials, again, no tax dollars. It's about $10,000, and then Tri-County is supplying the labor.
Ann had mentioned the ADA project improvements for Freeman Kennedy and Pond Street with the engineering included. So we are very happy that that's going to be moving forward at Freeman Kennedy first. It is the complex that, especially during the summertime, that we use the most. Not only is there a lot of baseball there in the spring and softball there in the spring, we use it a ton during the summertime for our summer programs. Soccer uses it a lot in the spring and the fall, and we have our flag football league there in the fall. I have a lot of parents, all of our flag football fields are way out. So we have a lot of parents who, they ask me for permission to drive down and park on the grass and the dirt, just so they have a shorter walk. So we're very excited about that, happening as a benefit for everybody that comes to enjoy things over there.
We're providing ADA, also recreation's putting in ADA bleachers, again, not tax dollars, and picnic tables, and Moby mats, which will help.
Is it the same road that's already by the snack shack?
Yeah, that's the emergency access road that goes like this.
Yeah.
So that will be finished, so it'll be smooth, so you can get down and walk it, use it wheelchair, and then it'll go around, and then it'll be parking past the snack shack and past the, right in that, sort of in the middle of that area.
Right now, there's 2 containers out there that we're hopefully gonna
They'll be rearranged.
so that the parking will all be
My
right
house is
there.
right there. My house is the last house,
Okay.
and I see that, that's why I
Yeah.
just asked, where's this road going?
Is that for everyone to use or just disability? That
Oh, no, it's emergency access, no, everyone can walk down it, people walk
I mean,
down.
when you finish it and people can drive down there.
The parking is gonna be handy for handicap.
For accessible,
Yes.
right, accessible parking.
And as Ian mentioned, on Christmas Eve, we found out about the land acquisition at Pond Street going through. In the pickleball courts at town meeting,
The engineering's being done.
just got it prepared, so yeah, we're in the process of getting ready to get those going.
So it's-
Make them a reality.
So as far as the volume we do, we take in over 7,000 registrations a year. And it translates to nearly 40,000 program attendances. So a lot of our programs our typical program runs 5 to 6 weeks. We have some that run 8 and 12 weeks, and we have some that run 1 or 2. But if you take a little bit, average it all together, it's over 40,000 attendances. There is no day that we don't, maybe Sundays.
Sundays are quiet.
Sundays are quiet. There is no day that there isn't 1 or 7 programs running at any given time. The KP students, we actually run a couple of really wonderful programs. So our youth basketball program, we pay the KP students to help coach. So during their season, their basketball season, they have a job on the weekends. And it's a job they love, and they come and they help teach kids to play basketball if they're basketball players. It's been going on, I think, 17 years now. We started as Norfolk Youth Basketball. We got Rentham to join us, so it became Norfolk Rentham Youth Basketball, and Plainville joined us a few years ago, which makes it even better, and so it's Norfolk Rentham Plainville Youth Basketball. We hold the boys, we have so many, we have the boys at the high school, and we have the girls and all the kindergartners at the middle school on Saturdays, mostly Saturdays. And then as far as how many people use the fields, we have over 1,500 players using the fields in the spring and the summer. So, and when they use the fields, and they don't just use the fields once a week, they use the fields typically 3 times a week. So that's a lot of maintenance. That's what we need to try to keep up with. And we do a pretty good job. As far as, so I wrote this before I actually had a date that I was retiring. So I have been here about 27 years. I started on 9/8/99, and I remember it well because Y2K 9/9/99, the only computer that I know of that died was ours. And we were scrambling to do, first week of September is when registration is. So we were doing registrations at home, hoping that we had everything right. It was quite interesting, but also quite fun. We do have fun. And again, I mentioned to you, there's the business side of recreation. We love seeing kids on the field. We love the smiles. We love the pictures. But in order to make everything work, I am a certified playground safety inspector. I've recertified 3 or 4 times now. Actually, both of us are certified park and recreation executives.
There's only about 650 in the country.
Right.
I'm proud of that, sorry.
Yeah. There's certified park and recreation professional is a standard certification, and we both have the executive certification. And for purchasing purchases, I am a MCPPO, which is a mass certified purchasing person. I was very happy to do that in my previous life. Before I became a rec director, I was a purchasing manager in electronics, and I bought metals and plating. Nothing to do with recreation, but this is more fun. And Josh?
I've always been in recreation in some way, shape, or form. I worked for the YMCA for 10 years. I worked for another organization, a lot like a Y, for 10 years. I got my master's in public administration because I wanted to work for a municipality, but the longer I worked in nonprofit, it wasn't as easy. And even in the end, it took COVID to help me get here. And another thing, certification I just recently got was a certified youth sports administrator through an organization called NAES. So basically, all that really means is if a local sports organization, say Norfolk Youth Baseball, girls softball, KIPSA soccer, ever needed an outside opinion that isn't from someone involved in their organization to help them with something, I've gone through a certification process to help them with that. Organizations don't always look for that because they're all doing it right themselves. So, but I'm here to help. It's good to have.
One other note, that all of our instructors, even if they're 15 years old, we do queries and stories. And we do them ourselves because they'll go back to the youth records. So everyone is quarried and storied. We have coaches, they have CPR, and they have concussion training as well. So we have a little game. You don't really need to participate if you don't want to. But as far as trivial questions, you can stand up, you can raise your hands, you can sit down, you can just raise your hands from the air. How many acres of athletic fields do we have in town? 9? 16 or 25? We have, go ahead. So we have actually, Pond Street looks like this great big recreation complex. We have more fields at Freeman Kennedy. We have 16 acres. Freeman Kennedy is a really, I mean, it's talk about historic. Those fields, some of those fields are at least 70 or 80 years old. And I will tell you this about Freeman Kennedy, that the soil, if any of you have put in a front lawn or anything and from the ground up, and if you had a contractor come in and do it and they put this much soil, it's not a good thing. When I built a house, I required 6 inches of soil. There's 18 inches of fertile soil. We top dress all the time. The soil is the key to healthy grass, and sow a seed. The more grass you have, the less weeds you have, the less chemicals you have to put down. So we have in total 25 acres of athletic fields. So this is a little bit of a trick. When I put youth sports down, I meant like after school sports. So which activity do you think is most popular at recreation? Pickleball? Fitness classes? Youth sports? Youth sports. Youth sports. So if you were to look at just at like all the other sports organizations having kids on the field, that would be correct. I will tell you that we have 30 to 64 people playing pickleball every week. So at the Freeman Kennedy School, Monday and Wednesdays. So
and we actually offer a very minimal amount of youth sports that we consider our own programs. Yeah. Beyond flag football, field hockey, and basketball as leagues. I mean, we might have 1 or 2 micro-taught sport classes or, golf classes here and there. So.
And we have adult fitness classes 5 days a week, Monday nights, Wednesday mornings, Thursday twice,
nights.
And Saturday mornings. And then how many minutes is it recommended? Moderate to intensity movement for better health. Any idea what the CDC might recommend? Raising hand, 10 to 15, 20 to 30? 20 to 30 minutes. They recommend 150 minutes a week. It can be broken up into any group. You can do 20 minutes one day, 40 minutes another. Walking, a little goes a long way. I know we took a long amount of time, but if there are any questions, just let us know.
The last one, I mean, if you're interested in getting involved, we're always happy to have ideas given to us, brought to us, volunteers. There's a variety of different things. We may not always have an idea. If you're interested in volunteering in college, we may not have a good idea at the moment for you, but we'll figure something out. But if you have a great idea for a program, something you think you might like to volunteer with, even if we're not the department, we'll work with you to find the place for you to go to help out if it's not us. We're always looking for help for small things, events. My first event here out of COVID was the 150th celebration, so I kind of got to come in and be part of the planning of it, even though it happened later. So I love big events, but we always need extra help for things like that. Just don't be afraid to share it. And if we have things that are coming up for town meeting and you support them, please come and support us at town meeting.
Or ask us about it if you want to know ahead of time.
We try to be as transparent as possible, so if you have any questions about anything, we are always available. I'll always be available even after Ann retires, and our office isn't always physically open, but our emails are, so.
Do you have, does the recreation department have more than one vehicle?
We have 2 vehicles.
You have 2?
No tax dollars.
No tax dollars, okay, so is this, when you, and like you say, part of your salary comes from raising funds, is this all the fees that are fees that are collected?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the reasons people ask us about the vehicles, and they should ask us about the vehicles, one of the things, we don't have one facility. We have programs every day at both schools, our site, the fields, and then also at the middle school and the high school. So when we have to transport everything that we need, we have a few storage bins, but we have to transport all the equipment back and forth. And then we also have to have the ability to put a child or someone in our car if they're not well. So field trips, someone's throwing up, they're not getting on a bus. So, and even in the summertime, staff have to be transported. We use our vehicles more for transportation as for supplies. I had 11 basketball inserts, which are the back part of a basketball hoop, in the Tahoe a week ago. So we have to, and we had to pick those up at the high school, had to move them, had to bring them back, they're stored down in the town garage. So we're moving equipment all the time, and then we also need to move children once in a while, hopefully not too often.
Are you guys considering language for adults in the future?
No, that's a great question.
I would like, I looked in the book for it just recently.
So, I actually just signed up for Italian at the Senior Center.
That's what I want to learn.
Tuesdays, 1:30, and I bet they'd let you sneak in. Yeah, I did. I was over there the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, they're offering Italian.
I don't think I've ever shot down a program I did, not even just here, any place that I've ever worked, because I've always been involved with developing programs. And I will work with anybody's program idea and take it as far as we can, even if we have to try offering it 2 or 3 times. So, and sometimes that's all it takes for it to eventually catch on. So any idea, even if you think it's far-fetched. And as I said earlier, part of it is I would like to continue to offer more things for adults. I mean, there are a lot of great things in the area between all sorts of different organizations, even stretching beyond the borders of Norfolk. But if we can do them in-house, you know, my mother was a florist for 45 years. The holiday boxwood and wreath, that was the first time I didn't call it Hollywood. The holiday boxwood and wreath program, my mother teaches it, right? So I use her and her skills, right? So, and I've met a lot of, so if you're interested in that, I can do the research of finding someone who might be interested in teaching it. We had ASL for a few sessions a couple of years ago. That was fairly well attended, you know. And then, yeah, it petered out, but, you know, we offered it, and if someone came and they said, we'd like to take that again, I know someone to contact. I don't mind finding the information, so any idea for any age, for any population, for families, individuals, it doesn't matter, you know, we can work to see, as long as it can fit into whatever facilities we have available and what time we have.
That gets a little tricky sometimes.
And we can find an instructor, you know, we're willing to try anything new.
One way the school gets money is to rent out their space. Outside organization could rent the gym for basketball. Does the recreation department pay the schools?
We do not pay the schools. Yeah, we work around their schedule. So on Tuesday nights, we move futsal so they can rent the space to who needs it. We don't use their space on weekends because they also rent space on the weekends. So we use it after school when they would not be renting space to outside programs because they don't have outside programs in before 6 o'clock. So most of our programs are done by then. But we do have pickleball in the evening, and like I said, futsal we moved. So we like to think we give back to the schools in other ways. We put money toward playgrounds, we're happy to, and we're happy to do that.
And we have a lot of the teachers as program instructors too.
We have teachers.
Teachers come up with program ideas and we offer them, and we have a few new this session that filled up within minutes. Brand new programs being run by teachers at HOD and Freeman Kennedy. So.
Any other questions? Sarah, it's your turn.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. Lots of familiar faces, which is nice. Well, welcome to the library if you've never been here before. You're in what we call the community room right now, and this is one of our most heavily used rooms for library programs. Groups in town, rec uses it sometimes, the COA, and basically anyone almost. The library's mission is to provide residents of all ages a welcoming environment where the library's resources of space, collection, technology, and programs to promote and encourage lifelong learning. And our department is made up of 14 people. We have, I am full-time, my associate director Adam is also full-time, and our youth services, senior youth services librarian is here as well, Allison. She is also full-time. A lot of our staff is circulation staff. You've probably met a lot of them at the circulation desk. Those ladies are fantastic. We are governed by a board of library trustees. That is something in Massachusetts. Other states have other setups, but our board is made up of 3 people and they're elected. We have Brian Beachkowski, who is our chair this year. We have Ken Nelson, who is our secretary. And then we have Jennifer Oliver, who is our member. Feel free to interrupt me at any time if you have questions. Oops, something got on this. So our department provides a community space, like I said. It also provides free programming for all ages, and that did say, I hope it's right on your printout, NPL offers a wide range of programming for all ages at no cost to participants. We do programs like arts and crafts, book clubs. David, our technology person, has introduced some video gaming and other gaming things. They do Magic and Minecraft, which I know nothing about either of them, but they seem interesting. The kids are very excited. David also has been providing some technology classes. This week he just did a computer take-apart class where you were able to come in and take apart a computer and see the insides and how it works and everything like that.
It was fun.
Oh good, you went? Fantastic. There's a lot of pieces in a computer that
Take it apart and put it back together is what we did.
Oh, you put it back together too? I couldn't do that. We also offer some things that you might not know about. One of our major services outside of regular library things is passport services. We offer passport services to anyone who comes in. You don't have to be a Norfolk resident, and it's hopefully a painless process. You don't have to go to the post office and stand in line and wait. And that is actually one of our more popular services. We're usually fully booked, especially on Saturdays. We offer it 5 days a week. We also give people access to different resources, both physical and digital. So we have physical books, we have collections like some examples in the back. We have a stuffed braid collection, and we have board games and puzzles, and we have some other things called boredom busters, which are backpacks that you can check out for kids and things like that. We also offer there's no fines on books. We don't charge people fines. We have free Wi-Fi. We provide warming and cooling during the summer and the winter. Shared workspace. All of our study rooms are usually used every day by people coming in and doing work, taking meetings, things like that. We also, as you can see along the wall, we provide display space for local artists and artistic groups. Right now, this is the Cultural Council, and we have...
This is Stony Brook, isn't it?
You're correct. Stony Brook. Cultural Council's in next. Stony Brook Camera Club, they exhibit every year, and I think we have almost every month filled this year, which is great. Our operating budget. So the library is 0.8% of the town's overall budget. For town funds for personnel, we have $562,000. General operating, which is our books, materials, processing, technology, things like that, is $201,000. Outside of the town, we do receive a lot of money from our Friends of the Library group. They do a wonderful job fundraising throughout the whole year, and they provide all of our programming money. None of the taxpayer money is used for programs, so they give us about $28,000 a year. That can fluctuate with what our plans are. We also have local grants from groups like Norfolk Community League, Cultural Council, the Lions, and right now that's sitting at $1,600, but there is about $2,000 pending for this year. And then state and federal grants, this year's been a little wild for that, but we do have about $16,000 coming towards our way just for information we provide at the end of every fiscal year to the state about circulation statistics and things like that. When you're certified, they give you state aid grant money that you can use in your budget. So we usually get about $30,000 a year from the state. Any questions about that? No, it's a lot of numbers. Nope, okay. We are part of the sales network. We're actually in a very unique area where we are at the top, the very tippy top of the network up there, And we actually are in an area where there's 3 different library systems that all converge in one area, so it can get a little confusing sometimes. But it's also a great opportunity for Norfolk residents because you can get a card at any Massachusetts library. You don't have to just be your town library. So you can get a card here to be part of the sales system, you can get a card in Walpole to be part of Minuteman, and you can get a card in Franklin to be part of, Walpole's Old Colony, and I think Franklin is Minuteman. But you have 3 options. And as a Massachusetts resident, you also can access any digital collection for any system within the state. So you can register your card anywhere. Sales has 70 libraries. It's 39 communities within the state. It's mostly southeastern Massachusetts. Like I said, we're sort of at the tippy top. We pay a membership cost. This year we paid $28,870. For every dollar of our membership fee, the Norfolk residents receive about $22.28 in services. So that means that our membership cost of a little under $29,000 is actually $614,000 that we aren't having to pay being outside the network. Digital content borrowed last year was 66,312 items at around $17 each, so that's a value of $603,732. We also had a little under 6,300 cataloging transactions, so those are items that we put into the system, the new items that we're buying every year. 137 unique titles were borrowed, and we had 148 support cases that were resolved with the sales network staff, so they were able to help us with some stuff. Yes?
So the dollar value of the membership, is that material that you don't have to purchase?
Yes, so we pay the flat fee, and the return we get for every dollar that we give them, this is what we get in services, materials, things like that. Because we're able to buy licenses as a consortium, so we get a nice discount on some things like our movie license, we do that, a lot of the databases, and then just as a library patron, you're able to borrow from any sales library, so we don't have to buy every single title that comes out. Anything else? Okay. So projects. Anne made me think of one that I had not put on here. I don't know if anyone has been in this room before, but it's a little bit different color. We did have a burst pipe a couple years ago, and we were able to renovate this room thanks to water. So ongoing, we have carpet within the whole building. That facility is helping us to work on a plan to replace different sections each year so that eventually all the carpet will be the same. Always, we're adding to and maintaining the collection, whether that means buying new materials, weeding out things that maybe haven't gone out in 5 years and people aren't interested in, updating things like technology books, science books, things like that for information that might be out of date. And then we also work outside the library with other departments and groups to spread awareness of our services. A current project we're working on is ADA compliance. Oh, no, I got messed up too. Good luck. ADA compliance. One of our big projects that we've applied for a grant for is the outside ramp. We need to replace that. When this building was expanded in 2004 and completed, the grade was sloped too high for the current standards. So it needs to be ripped out and sloped differently. A very big dream of mine, which maybe sometime will happen, I would love to have a dedicated outdoor programming space for kids programs so that it's sort of enclosed. So we do programs on Town Hill a lot, but I mean, it's a wide open space. So my pipe dream, hopefully not a pipe dream, is to take the program room and create a door outside of that, and then the small parking lot to enclose part of it in as an outdoor program space. But that's like shoot for the stars. If I ever win the lottery, I won't tell anyone, there will be signs. We also take part in school open houses. Allison goes to literacy night, farmers market, community day. We provide programming at COA, and the COA partners with us here. REC, of course, talked about the summer concerts. NCTV, we've done things in the past with them. Community League and Stony Brook. We're everywhere. Here's a few statistics. Last year, we provided 577 programs, which is up from 449 from the year before. We had 7,921 attendees, which is up from 6,846. 168,710 items were circulated. That is up from 149,323. It's a very busy year last year. Annual visitors into the building last year, we had 71,500. The year before was 62,984. Room reservations have exploded. We had 507 room reservations, which excludes our use. So this is just outside groups requesting to use the rooms, of 507 requests, and then the year before was 447. With that passport service that I told you about previously, we do collect a processing fee, and about every year we give the town about $26,000 back into the general fund from those processing fees. We do keep some of it for postage and things like that. Any questions about all those numbers?
What determines how much of the passport fee?
So it's a
back to the
flat,
town?
yeah, it's a flat fee, and it's a $35 fee. So we keep $10 and we give $25 to the town per application. Good question. So there's things that the library has that you might not know about if you haven't been here in a while. We have something called a Stuffberry, which is a library of things. It's getting very popular with libraries all over the country. And it's a collection of items you wouldn't normally think you'd find at a library. So we have a lot of yard games, we have Wi-Fi hotspots, gaming systems, kitchen appliances, tools, e-readers, and a whole host of other things. I think there's maybe 40 items in our Stuffberry right now. And those are reservable by anyone with a card. You do have to be a Norfolk resident for the hotspot and the game systems, though. Allison has continued our great collection we call Boredom Busters. Those are the backpacks in the back right there. Each backpack has its own theme, and you're able to check it out and jazz up your car trip, or if you have nieces or nephews or grandkids coming over and you want to have something in the house for them, you can take those. I think one of the most popular ones is the Disney and the Magic one.
Yeah, there's a Magic Tricks themed one, there's a Disney themed one. Some of the latest ones include Bluey, Space Explorer, you have one with a microscope and some things like that in it. And then there's like a math one, there's one sorting and counting, there's kind of all kinds of things. There's also a Minecraft one that's super popular right now.
And that was a collection that was started with a state grant, which was great. We have a lot of online databases. It's a curated list of free resources provided either by us, the state, or federally. There's different stuff for entertainment, research. There's a craft website where you can find thousands of craft classes to keep you busy this winter. We also provide tech help. We do have a program called Tech 911, which is a scheduled program where you can come in with your device. But we offer that service all year round. Just call ahead, and either one of us or our IT person, David, was happy to sit down with you one-on-one. If you have personally the new iPhone update is awful. If you got new tech for Christmas, we have a lot of people come in after Christmas. And it's just great because you sit one-on-one with your device and you get shown exactly what you need to know. We have a games and puzzles collection. Allison and I are very passionate about games and puzzles, so that's quite a large collection. We also have museum passes, which a lot of them are provided by funding from the Friends, as well as the Lions, the Community League, and the Garden Club. We have over a dozen institutions you can visit at a discounted rate. You can choose your date. There's museums, zoos, state parks, and other winter activities like winter skate at Patriot Place is actually one that's available right now. We also have 3D printing. I don't know if anyone's requested any 3D print stuff. It's very popular. We have a program that we just started this year with a grant called the Memory Cafe, and we're doing that with the Council on Aging, and it's a place for people with dementia, Alzheimer's, other things like that to come with their caretakers and just relax and be in a space where you don't have to worry about remembering things or be tense about people asking questions and stuff. So it's a lot of music, interaction. We do all have lunch together. It's great. And community participation. Like I said, our Friends group is very active, and we're always looking for volunteers. I know we have a lot of new volunteers helping to count and put together our puzzle donations to make sure all the pieces are there for our annual book and bake sale. A little plug for that if you haven't been. It is our biggest fundraiser of the year, and it's every April vacation. This year it's on April 25th, and we have over 32,000 items. We fill the entire gym at the HOD full of books, puzzles, games, movies, anything you can imagine, really. And it's a great time. At the library, you can also volunteer. We have people who shelve books for us. We have people who do what we call the RHA, which is where you pull the holds for different libraries and for our patrons. And we have also volunteers that come in and just help with special projects. Outside of the library, we do Toys for Tots every single year. We partner with Gilly's House, the food pantry we've done a lot with lately, and have future plans for other things as well. Girl Scouts, the farmers market, and some of the vendors there. And like I said, the Garden Club, Community League, Cultural Council, Lions Club, a lot of great support. And for our activity, one of our biggest and most popular activities, every month we have a scavenger hunt. During the school year, it's about 150 kids who participate. In the summer, it's about 300. So, to get you guys sort of familiar with the layout of the library, we have a little scavenger hunt for you. It's easy, don't worry, we made it adult friendly. And so I'm gonna give you a sheet and you can walk around, try and find stuff. If you don't wanna do the scavenger hunt, that's fine. You're welcome to just walk around and the three of us will be here to answer any questions that you have or guide you. Make sure you visit the magazine room where we have our Misty Meadows mural, and the schoolhouse, which is the original building. And it was library, schoolhouse, firehouse, which caught on fire, ironically. But there's a great plaque, and there's pictures of some of the older classes of kids. And they don't haunt me and follow me as I walk up to my office every day. But did anyone have any questions before we do that activity? Donna?
Regularly watching the town budget process, people submit their request for money and then there needs to be a cut.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't noticed any cut from the library. Is
have-
there a restriction for reducing hours?
There is a restriction to remain certified. That's a great question, Donna. Thank you. To remain certified, we have to be open a certain number of hours. Our operating budget has to increase by 2.5% on average to remain certified. If you are not certified, your residents cannot use any other library outside of your town. So it is very important to stay certified, and we do follow those guidelines very strictly. We have made cuts. We've had positions we haven't filled or we've delayed. We just try and make sure that we hit that minimum so we stay certified.
What is what are the minimum number of hours?
2.5%. Oh, hours?
And what happens if you go below that?
You have to get a waiver. So during COVID, they gave everyone a blanket waiver. But if you have like a special situation, like when we were doing repairs for the flood, we got permission to lower our hours for that because we couldn't be open. But we actually were open a lot of time. We opened pretty fast after that, just not fully. I would have to look that up for you and get back to you on the exact number. We just have a formula and we plug everything in and we go, yay, we're certified. We're very lucky. We're very lucky that we get a lot of support from the Friends Group because that does help us with our 2.5%. Oh, sorry, I think he had.
So I always thought it was weird how like neighboring towns have different networks and stuff. So is that intentional?
No, we're just in a weird special area.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people get really confused. They come with a Minuteman library card, they slide it across the table, and we're like, no, you can get a card here, but that's a totally different system. They don't talk to each other at all. Like if you return stuff here that's for Walpole, it'll eventually get there because we all sort of use the same sorting facilities, but it will take a very long time. It'll go on a little vacation around Massachusetts.
Good question. Why do you have to give the town hall $25 out of the $35?
So that is just something that was set up at the beginning of us doing passports. We started a very long time ago. That was a decision made with the administration between the library and...
Why can't you change that?
How would you want it changed?
That you keep the 25, you keep the whole 35. So that would pay for your staff.
Give them 10, you keep the 20.
No, you're just saying, if you're charging 35, does the town hall do passports also?
No.
Okay, so why can't you keep the 35?
Because, like Donna was pointing out, we can't make as many cuts. So if we can provide extra funding for the town into the general fund, we'd rather do that. And the $10 does cover our expenses, so it's not, we aren't using our budget for expenses for passports. Because when you do like a five passports, you can put them all in one envelope, so you're not paying postage for each single one. And postage is where most of the budget goes from what the $10
And the
is.
35 is set by the federal government.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not set by us.
Part of the beginning process was, whoa, why can't you do it in town hall?
Because didn't we used to have it?
Your
at the
town
hall?
clerk can give you a birth certificate.
Right.
They shouldn't be the one giving you.
Yeah, so there's a conflict of
permission to
interest, so
travel.
you're not allowed, if you're able
Somebody else
to,
needs to.
if you're able to issue those sorts of materials, you can't process a passport as well. Because we're certified to sort of make sure that you are you, all the information you're giving is correct, and that you're not trying to like kidnap a child or something like that. Any other questions? Well, thank you all. I'm looking forward to giving you a tour of the building. And we'll get started. Hand out the scavenger hunt sheets.